and good afternoon, morning, wherever it is you're joining us from at this time. We're super excited to have every single one of you on the call. Feel free to make use of the chat box to say hello so we are sure we're just talking to note takers. All right. So today we'll be looking at the power of collaboration. And I believe it's something that is very core for every single industry. It doesn't matter whether you're just a freelancer, just a creative, whether you're a CEO, whether you're even in academics, right? Every discipline in itself makes the most of collaboration. So we're going to look at unlocking collective creativity and success. It's one thing for one individual to have all knowledge about a particular thing and be successful in it, but it's another for two people to come together with their knowledge, make it work, and still be successful. So, it's a popular saying that the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse will be inevitable. So, why does collaboration really matter for young creatives, for startups, and for every single one of you on this call? Before I jump into that, I'm sure we see like an elephant in the room. When we see this picture to our right, you can tell me what the picture, what comes to your mind as soon as you see this picture. What really comes to your mind? So you can tell us in the chat room, or you may want to unmute your mic if you have the ability to do so, and just tell us when you see this picture to your right, what comes to your mind.
Collaboration of a musician and a comedian, if
Okay.
I'm not mistaken. Union.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much, Adams. Or who else wants to try? Does this picture bring a video to your mind? Right. I think that's
Yes,
what you should
it
ask.
does.
All right. Fantastic. Who else wants to throw in an input? Who else has seen this picture before, or even seen a video of these two personalities in one space? Probably even in the same outfits that they're having right now. Who else? Who else do I have on the call? Because we're going to make this as interactive as possible. So I see a Raphael, I see Divine. Would you want to tell us on the chat box, even if you do not want to unmute? Just tell us if it rings a bell. If it doesn't, tell us it doesn't ring a bell. And then those of us that are aware, we will share with you as we continue. All right, so I'm hoping that the rest of us will share on the chat box so we don't take too much of our time. Now, this is a picture of, like Adam said, a musician, an artist, Burna Boy, and I like to consider him more than a comedian, more of a skit maker, a content creator as a whole, and that is Sydney Talker. Now, this is an unplanned collaboration, right? I believe it was an event that Burna Boy and he was there, and so he used that opportunity to make a content. What Oh, hi. Okay, it's Christabel. Oh, fantastic. Now, what came out of this particular picture was one of the biggest content Sidin Talker ever had on any social media platform. So Burna Boy was a regular picture. I think I saw an interview where Burna Boy was saying he didn't spend up to a minute taking those pictures. But then this guy used that opportunity to bring a content. So collaboration sometimes is not just about even directly working with someone. You can indirectly work with someone and still get success. Remember what we said, he has to bring success, right, out of it. All right. So yes, they did a video, you know, or rather, Sinitoka did a video unawares to Burna Boy, and then that video blew up. Right. You can feel free to check Sinitoka's page. I think that should be among one of the pin posts, if I'm not mistaken. So collaboration is more than just teamwork, right? Because if we go by what collaboration is, we won't classify what they had as collaboration. They didn't work together. They just took a picture, but he knew what he was doing, right? So it's about leveraging diverse skills and perspectives to create breakthrough ideas. So he leveraged on Burna Boy's personality. He leveraged on Burna Boy's skill, right? Who he is his skill that makes him a celebrity. He leveraged on it to create this breakthrough idea that has, opened the doors for his content creating journey. So in startups and creative fields, collaboration accelerates innovation. You know, I'm sure when he saw Burna Boy, he didn't plan that he would do a content like that. But when he saw Burna Boy, in that moment, an idea dropped, right? So it accelerates an innovation when you start thinking beyond just me. And mind you, there was another content creator that made this thing possible. I think his name is Isbeyu. He's the one that actually took the pictures, right? That was supposed to take the pictures and then took something that was not good and that became the content, right? So this was collaboration between two content creators and an artist, unaware to one person, but aware to two people. So it's way more than, like I said, it's way more than just teamwork. It accelerates innovation, it's problem solving and adaptability in fast changing environment. This is a very good example of a fast changing environment because Burna Boy could have been there for seconds, and Burna Boy could have not even said hi to him, because they're not actually friends, but he liked the work that he was doing, and then in that handshake, oh, can we take a picture? Then bettered the content. All right. So now, why is this relevant? What's like the real life impact of collaboration? And how has collaboration changed the game for us in our everyday life? I'm sure many of us know of Airbnb, right? So the founders, Brian and Joe, they combined design and tech skills to disrupt hospitality by collaborating intensely in their early days. We normally understand when we hear the word hospitality, what comes to our mind is, right? Hotels come to our minds, guest inns come to our mind, just places where people, can come around, have fun, resorts come to mind. But it brought something different. It brought an opportunity for people to have access to houses, be able to cook, do anything as if it's your own home, but for a temporary period of time for a fee. Right? But what brought this? Two people of different backgrounds, one person from a design background, they understand the importance of aesthetics in in locations, in houses, the right furniture, the right settings, the right colors, the right ambience. And someone came with tech. Okay, how can we connect this thing to the rest of the world? And that's how we got Airbnb. Spotify's squad model empowers small cross-functional teams to innovate rapidly and independently, right? They're in different parts of the world. And they said, okay, rather than just do this in our own, I understand music, right? I understand algorithm, but then we need to understand culture. What kind of music speaks to this particular people? What kind of music speaks to people from this continent? And so they made a team out of different functional fields, right? They were people from tech, about people that were music artists, sound engineers, right? Music enthusiasts, sound engineers. They brought people that understood algorithm, right? And they came together to foster a culture of ownership. So not one person initially brought up the idea of Spotify. It was a combined effort. We look at Slack today. Slack wasn't even supposed to be Slack in the first place. And Slack is a platform that a good number of us, maybe on this call, use either in our teams or those of us that may be schooling, we use it for schoolwork. So it started off as a gaming company, but then it pivoted through collaborative feedback. Right. What that means is they started asking questions, tell us about our platform, your use of our platform. And then one or two people were saying, I like that you have this, but this could have been better if you were doing this. This could have been better if you were doing this. They took that constructive feedback and it became the $27 billion communication platform that we have today. And it showcases diverse forms of adaptability. One day I was on Slack, and as much as we have regular channels on Slack or you can communicate via DMs, I realized that they even have, when you have a call where you're waiting for someone on the call, there's a song playing in the background. Imagine if that kind of idea comes on WhatsApp. So while you're waiting for people to join in, or maybe on a group call, there's probably a song to your choosing. It could be, if it's a gospel call, if it's a gospel call, you have gospel song playing. It's just a casual call, you have a casual song playing in the background. But these are the things that they adapted to bring into life what is Slack today. And Slack is a platform that identifies links. If you share a link on WhatsApp, of course, feedback from different people that gave birth to what it is that we are calling Slack today. So that's how important collaboration and how far reaching it can be. So what are the benefits? Like I've mentioned, creativity and innovation, diverse minds, two people, 3, 10, 20 people from different backgrounds, one from being design, one person from tech, one person from finance, one person from commerce, one person from architecture. We come together, right? And we spark out of the box ideas, because how I will have taught as maybe as a writer will not be how I would think as a sound engineer. It won't be how I would think as a graphic designer. But when you put all the people together in one room, you have creativity as its peak. What's another benefit of collaboration? Problem solving. Collective intelligence tackles complex challenges faster. For example, we were starting this call, and the admin was trying to make me a co-host. And then he said, "Oh, let me just share my screen. Let's see how we can navigate this together." Of course, two of us have our various experiences with different platforms, and I outrightly just said, "Oh, I'm not so familiar with the Google Meet. I'm mostly a Zoom guy and Microsoft Teams, right? But let's see how we can navigate it together." And then we brought our understanding, our UI UX, right? Our user experience understanding of different platforms. Okay, where could this particular thing we're looking for be? And we were able to find it. He made me co-host and was able to start recording. But that was because we came with our collective intelligence and we solved the issue faster. Right? Sense of ownership. Shared goals boost commitment and motivation. One of the things I always talk about is a book called Teamwork by Natalie Dawson. Talks about it's important for you to build a system of compensation and progress in any workspace that guarantees commitment from people in your space. So what are we saying in essence? If people know that there's something coming back to them, is why equity came in as a thing. When people know that there's something coming back to them, there's a benefit right out of this thing, they are motivated. It boosts commitment. When you know you have a stake in a company, you know that if you don't do some certain things right, it would affect the stock, it will affect the value, for example, of what the company is. So you're losing money, you commit more to it. So when we put two people together in a space, we're saying, oh, for example, Nas Boy dropped the song, and you see him going doing different skits with different content creators. All right. But then what are the goals? Oh, for me, I want my music to blow. What are the goals for you? Oh, I want to have a content where we both share the proceeds that come out from this. So they are both committed to bringing their A game because they know they are both getting something out of it. But I guarantee if Nasba had gone to meet one person and say, oh, my guy, I beg, just do one for me. No money involved. Just do one for me. You are my person, right? Of course, he will come to be if they're friends. But then that commitment will not be the same as opposed to when they know that they have something coming back or something they have at stake. Right, so there's communication and trust as a key benefit of collaboration. Open dialogue builds stronger relationships. When we can speak to each other on a one-on-one basis and talk about the things that bother on us, right? Be it in a workspace, in an academic space, in a business setting, collaboration gives that forum. So when we go to events, after having a nice time, they say, oh, we're going to have this time for what? For networking. Why? Because it builds stronger relations. It ensures that when we gather again, if it's a recurring event, we will not see ourselves as strangers. We'll have something to hold on to. So when I meet you, maybe I come on a session and I meet Adams, or I meet Fred, or I meet Obina, we share something. And when we share something, when we gather again, maybe on the Hailerz community for another session, I can easily say, oh, Obina does this because we communicated on a level, right? And that's what it does for you. That open dialogue builds a trust. So when I'm coming to a place and I know Obina is there, I'm not coming with the, let me start building on my documents, let me start from scratch. No, I'm building up on, we met in this place. But that's what collaboration can bring to you. All right. And then there's adaptability. Teams navigate uncertainty and change more effectively when they work together. When they work together. Imagine the example we gave, right, of Airbnb. Let me scroll back to it at first, right? If one person just says, oh, I'm a designer, I know how to make sure the aesthetics in this house, of course that's fine, but that would only be relevant if they are going into hotels or just going into normal spaces that people would just pay for a day and they are gone, no experience whatsoever. They have limitations of what they use the rooms for. But when someone came and said, oh, I have a way to project this thing, I have a way to get this particular thing to different places, right? I have a way to turn just what you have built as a structure to be an office space that multiple people use. Those ideas came together and they adapted one person's stuff and one person's strategy and made it into a product, right? And I feel like even on calls like this, it's important for us to even communicate. Let's know ourselves. So if you can't share on the chat box, you can tell us what you do. And so, whenever we get on a call like this again, we know where we're not starting from scratch. We're starting from, Fred, I know you do this. So that's true. I was having a call the other day, and someone said he needed the person doing something like that, and you do that. And I've heard you talk about your stuff, so I know you know your stuff. Can we work together? Can we exchange LinkedIn handles? How can we communicate with one another and build from there? So it starts even on calls like this. I know that naturally, the Google Meet platform, I don't know if it allows for direct messaging, but I think it does. Right? If it doesn't, feel free to be open about your special. Or you can put on the chat box, "Hi, my name is this. I am this, 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 this. You can catch me on this or this, a LinkedIn portfolio," and we start connecting from there. So, what are the tips for? I think I've done this right. The next thing we're going to move on to, okay, yes, the tips for effective collaboration in startups and creative teams. You have to establish a clear shared purpose and goals where everyone owns. So what that means is you don't want to come from a perspective of me. It is shady. We don't know what is what. We can't trust that your yes is yes or your no is no. Then there is a problem. Another tip is that foster open communication, active listening, and respect for all voices. It will be absurd to tell me that you're collaborating with me, and then the moment I unmute my mic on this call to say something, you shut me down. Or you'll easily say, "Oh, this particular person, he's not, you're not in tech. How can you tell me anything about tech?" Just because my background doesn't say tech. Right? So it is important for collaboration to be effective, active listening. So before it's more like rather than react, right? You respond. Rather than just speak, right? You listen, you make informed choices, you share, and you respect all voices. So you don't say, for example, I've been on this call and some people have been on this Hailerz community longer than some other people. And they're coming and saying, "Oh, if you're going to be asking about this community, don't jump to ask the random people, check those of us that have been coming here since." But then there are things that people that have come here once will have noticed that someone that's been here for months will still not notice. And that is where what respect for all voices come in. If you are here, you're maybe thinking of a project you're going to be working on soon, or you are currently working on a project, and maybe it seems like you're finding it hard to come to a common ground with your partner, you might want to consider active listening, or you may want to consider respect for the voices. One day, just show up, right? Maybe in your workspace, and the one person nobody goes to for advice, go to the person for advice. You could just take a scenario, maybe take to the man by the gate, take to the man by the door, and say, "What do you think about this perspective?" You boost that person's spirit, you elevate the person for the person to feel that, "Oh, I'm worthy enough to say this," and you will be surprised at the ideas that you have. Right? We're in a world where people are now moving from, they're not following the original succession plan, right? You don't just go from assistant to the head. People can come from back door just because they have a solution to come and take over, because solutions are what works. And we talked about it initially that collaboration is supposed to move towards what? Creativity and success. All right. And so another tip is for us to embrace diversity of backgrounds and ideas to fuel innovation. Sometimes people have reduced some certain regions to some certain kind of knowledge. "Oh, he's not from the US. How do you think he will understand tax laws?" "Or he's not in tech. How do you think he will understand compliance laws?" Right? He just sells the physical product. How you think he will understand the algorithm? You will be surprised. You will be surprised at what people know in the littlest of forms. For example, I'm not a tech person, but I've had privilege to slot in as a product manager at a time for a couple of months. And in that time, I had to learn the different things about the various disciplines. Of course, I can't code, but then I can know enough to know how long this particular thing will take. I know what to do some certain situations. But then it will be unruly for you to assume that I do not know just because you check me in my CV and you don't see any React, you don't see any Node.js, you don't see any full stack developer, you don't see anything tech at all, and you just assume, right? you want to embrace it, because ideas, the fuel innovation. So when you can see somebody beyond what they look like, what you think they are on paper, you get all the best ideas that you will never have gotten if you had not trusted that person enough to what to say, let me hear from you. Right, so you want to clarify roles and responsibilities to reduce confusion and conflict before you go into any collaboration. Everybody has to know what they are doing. I gave that example of Sydney Talk. I'm sure he may have told his Bayu, guy, this picture you're snapping, I don't want you to snap any. Maybe snap one picture that is fine because I'll need the social media. Guy, snap a picture that cuts my head because that's the important part of the content. So when his Bayu gives him back his phone, he's not confused or conflicted because this was the plan. Right, you want to use collaboration tools. I'm sure you may have told Isbeyu, Snapchat picture takes a while before you save one. Don't use Snapchat, use regular camera. Right, so there are different tools just to stay connected and organized. Even privately is there on this. As soon as he sees Burna Boy, he's so far from Isbeyu, text Isbeyu and says, bro, I want to do this thing with Burna Boy, or he sends a voice note via WhatsApp. Collaboration tool, right? And then they link up and they make it work. Cultivate psychological safety, encourage risk taking and learning from failure. Because the truth is, chances are that you can forget and just snap regular pictures and won't have the content that the Docker used, to skyrocket things. So you have to trust people, you have to encourage risk taking, right? And you have to learn from failure. So, for example, who knows? Maybe he may have tried to create the same content with another celebrity before and it didn't work out that way. But then he did when he did it with Burna Boy, right? So these are the things. But you have to put a foot outside for you to even learn that it can be cold outside or it can be warm outside. Simulation activity. Now, this is for every single one of us. So building trust fall exercise. Now, what is a trust fall exercise? You may ask yourself, what is a trust fall exercise? Let me just throw that to the room quickly. Can anyone tell us what a trust fall exercise? I'm sure you already see it on the screen, but beyond what is on the screen, right? What comes to mind when you hear the word or hear the phrase trust fall? Trust fall. What comes to your mind? Anyone? You can feel free to unmute your mic, or you can just say so on the chat box. Just tell us what comes to your mind when you hear the word trust fall. Don't spy. I don't want to have to hide the screen. I'm trusting that you guys have integrity to may have looked at the screen and don't want to give a response from the screen. So this is, you see, I was talking about risk taking a risk on everyone on the call, that you guys would not look at the slides and tell me what you understand or what you think trust fall is. So let's hear it. One response from anyone and then we move. Like I see someone's unmuting their mics. Who wants to go ahead? Obina.
All right. To be honest, it's my first time coming across the term.
Okay.
And before you told us not to look, I already looked. So how do we look about it now? Okay. Anyways, but what first came to my mind actually was an ad I saw on AI. Something about not trusting, something about not trusting human beings, trust AI. It was kind of like a funny ad, Well, so there was, so the person was going to like fall down, facing like backing his teammates. So and his teammates were supposed to like catch her, I think. Okay. But they let her fall. And they were like, don't trust human beings, trust AI, something like that.
That's a good ad content. Yeah, go on.
Let's keep my mind. But yeah, I think going through this slide, which I've done already. So I think I get the concept of trying to be like, okay, if I mess up, can my teammates cover for me? Can my teammates correct me? Can I trust my teammates? Like, can I go all out with the belief that, oh, I'm not alone. If I do something wrong, I'll be corrected. And yeah, something around that.
Fantastic. I love that response. And I like the fact you brought out AI, right? And the truth is, sometimes we maybe use AI for content creation and we don't check it. We just assume that it's AI, it's supposed to be intelligent, right? It's artificial intelligence. Of course, it's supposed to be intelligent. That's what we tell ourselves. And then we just copy and we paste it. That exactly is a trust fall. We're trusting that it doesn't matter as far as it's AI. We'll just copy it. Some of us may carry content from AI straight to submit to a lecturer for an assignment. We don't even go and do maybe humanizing it or proofreading it. We're just so sure, right? It's a certain form of vulnerability. And then in this case, like I said, it goes way beyond just even humans, right? I like that I use the AI example. So of course, people do that, and it should be likened to the human factor, right? Where one person falls backward, trusting the team to catch them. Now, it doesn't mean that they do not trust themselves enough to stand. But the truth is that for anyone to actually either lead a team or work in a team, you have to be vulnerable. I was once in a team where the general manager would always tell me, Gary, you do things like you're walking around eggshells. You don't want to trust this person with this thing because you are so sure that maybe the person failed before, the person will fail again, right? You don't want to say this thing because you feel like you're going to step on this person's toes. So your ideas, you're keeping them in your head. It's probably making your head bigger, right? But it's not making the company bigger. So a lot of times we all have these ideas, right? But then it will need us to go out in a limb. I think that's how to say it, to go out in a limb, put one foot forward, right? And trust that every other thing we're leaving behind is going to be catered for. So what's the purpose? Why do we trust for? Right? It's to experience vulnerability and build confidence in team support. You want to have tested a team, right, on a smaller level before you advance to a bigger level. Of course, nobody just wakes up in a promoted position. They go through a process, either a training or experience or a recommendation, right? So you want to highlight reliance on others in a safe environment because it's very important. There are days where you can show up 7 days a week for a month, but what happens the one day you don't show up? What structure have you put in place to ensure that, yes, Obina may not be here, but there's someone on the team that I can trust that he or she will do this? Oh, yes, I'm trusting that we spoke as a team yesterday, and we said this person take charge of this segment of the business plan. You take charge of this segment. Oh, Temi take charge of this segment. Christabel take charge of this segment. Fred take charge of this segment. Doris take charge, and we all go to sleep, right? And our rest assured, and you know that if it's just you, right, you will deliver. But then you have to trust that by tomorrow morning, when you're going to have the presentation, everyone would have done that. Trust me, I've been there, right? I had a capstone project for schoolwork, and I had done my recording. I had sent. At first, I wanted us to be on group call like this, so everybody records their thing together, and we make it one document, and they submit, and I'm aware. But then people from different time zones, oh my God, I can't make it. And so we had to record separately. So one person records and sends to the group, waiting 3 hours for the next person. But it came ninth time and I had to sleep. So I had to sleep with the consciousness that in the morning by 8 a.m., that was the deadline. But I had to sleep with the consciousness that these guys will send their own videos, they would compile it together and submit it because I have done my part. And yes, the 2 times that happened, they did that, right? But imagine if we had done it once and they didn't do that. I'm not sure I would trust them as much. So these are the things you have to fight at a certain level and see where that takes you. All right. So reflect. How do you trust impact? How do you trust impact? How does trust impact your willingness rather to share ideas or take risk in a team setting? Right? How does it impact? You ask yourself these questions, right? How willing are you to actually share ideas? Because there are times where you may have shared an idea, it was watered down, or you shared an idea, someone took the idea, right? Trust fall means someone stole my idea the last time, but this team has to grow. And one of the things that will make this team grow is this idea. I'll share it nonetheless, right? Will I take a risk on confiding in this team member that this is what I deduce from the management, and I feel like they can work at it this way, and be rest assured that the person will not go and report me? So how do you get to this level? You have to discuss the feelings of dependence and support. Before you share something of value with someone, let the person know how weighty it is. Let them know that if you don't come through this way, these are the consequences. This is what I'm putting out. This is what I'm going off the limb for to make work. So it really depends how well, right, you are willing to relay your feelings. Sometimes we just act that, we're tough. Nothing goes beyond us, and because of that charisma we have, there's nobody that would make a wrong use of the information we've shared, or there's nobody that would trust to fall back to that they're not going to catch us. That's crazy. That's dangerous, right? Whatever you have not tested, it's like a product. You don't put on an MVP that you have not tested, right? Even an MVP is a product that gets tested, meaning people would still give back their feedback, and then you move from there to develop a product that is going to be on the market that you want it to be. So these are the things, right? You first want to know the purpose, because if you don't know the purpose of building trust, right, you won't do it. Right? You know the purpose, and then you want to reflect, because yes, it's not every time you trust people in collaboration that it yields. I'll give a very quick example. I had a collaboration when I was in non-profit space. I think 2023, we wanted to do a project, a digital literacy program for people in underserved communities. So we want to take laptops there Imagine people going to school every day. They are preparing to write computer science in WAEC. There are no computers in their schools. And we thought to ourselves, let's see how we can take this information to them. So, but we had the manpower here in Abuja, but a different non-profit in Lagos, they had the laptops, but they didn't have the manpower here. And the grant that gave them those laptops expected them to work not just in Lagos, but in different states. So we came together. We had a memorandum of understanding. We had a document where we shared what everybody's going to be responsible for and what happens to these things. Now, in one of those scenarios, the laptops got stolen, right? And because of that, the contract says that, oh, whoever is in possession, has to get a new one. So we were the ones in whose possession the laptops got stolen. So we're trying to get the new ones for them. We had made the order, and as we made the order, we discovered that it was somebody from the team. See why trust is supposed to be tested. It was someone from our team that made away with those laptops. So the police did their investigation, they found the person, but they only discovered 4 laptops. And out of the 4, I'm sure that this person took the laptops and dashed people. Like, he gave people saying, you have been a very good friend, take this laptop. You've been an amazing person, take this laptop. He didn't really sell them. There was no money out of it. Right? And it was beyond laptop. He took so many other things from the company and shared them across board. Now, but when we got these laptops back, they were all not in good shape. Only 2 were manageable. So now we had to decide. These laptops had been in custody of people that we can't vouch for. So even the company that we had worked with, we can't tell them that, oh, take back this laptop, because they won't take it for you, you won't take it. But we had to come to a common ground. I had to reach out to the CEO of the other engineer. I said, you trusted me to give us laptops. Can we work something out so everybody is happy? Let's give you 3. Let's give you 2 of the new laptops and 3 of the old ones. He said, no. The best he can do is 4 of the new ones and 1 of the old. And I said, it's not going to be of any use to us, because we took those laptops for that project. But now, if you allow us have some new laptops, right, we can either make it an ICT arm in our company and build from there. But after long talk, he trusted in the integrity of the friendship that we had, and he said, okay, I will agree for this. I'll take 3 of the new ones, 2 of the old ones. But he still had to bank on the fact that those laptops will not fail in future, because we didn't sign any document again to say, if these laptops crash, you are on your own. Right? So it's putting somebody out there in the limb saying, I trust you, right? That, oh, I'm trusting you, Obina, I'm trusting you, Joanne, that I'm leaving this in your custody, and understand that it's not my own, no, it's for a company. If anything goes out, it's going to be me, right? So you're discussing your feelings of dependence and support. Please, whatever happens, put in a good word for us as an organization, so people don't blacklist us. All right. So this is what these things look like. So overcoming collaboration challenges, common hurdles, miscommunication, unclear goals. I think I mentioned that initially. Your goals have to be clear. For us, we had a memorandum of agreement, right? Some collaborations may not need such serious documents, but sometimes if you can, even if it's a WhatsApp communication, it's a text, something that says that I told you that this is what we're going to be doing, right? And then you agreed to it and we moved on, right? Some other things that affect collaboration is lack of trust. Like I said, this person trusted me when he was dealing with the company, and I was no longer in the company when the laptops got missing. But since I was the one that brokered the deal, I was called back. And so because of he lacked trust in those, because he doesn't know them. He said, Gary, you're the one I'm trusting. I'm taking this laptop back and I'm banking on your name, right? And me, it was a risk for me too, because the laptops have not been in our custody, right? So lack of trust affects collaboration. Cultural differences can hinder effective collaboration, because sometimes you would say these are things that are paramount in our culture. These are the values, the norms that shape our company. This is what does not shape our company, right? So how can we come together if we're not agreeing on the terms? For example, early Twitter teams struggled with coordination before adopting agile collaboration methodologies, leading to internal friction. So there's one person in this department saying, this is what I think you should do in this department. This person is saying, this is what I think you should do. So nobody wanted to hear this other person's idea, because they feel they were not competent enough. Because if they thought they were competent enough, they should be on the team, right? But that's what they struggled with. But then they came for another level where, okay, one person is in charge of all the teams. Before product management was a thing, we had people that were developers, we had graphic designers, we had UI UX designers, but somebody had to come to manage these people. Else there was going to be friction. It's going to be tech people will say it will take us this long, and then the CEO will say, okay, operations team will come and say it's not possible, it's not supposed to take that long. The CEO will say, what do we not do? then they had to put a product manager. This person that understands everybody's timelines, right? And then killed friction. So I feel that's the bet of product management, right? So another thing that affects is strategies. So what did they do? Regular check-ins. So for us, for example, I've been in a team where they had the same issue. They didn't have a product manager. So when the product manager, what he did at first was create check-in. We were meeting every single day by 4 p.m. And then he started reducing the frequency as he understood that the team now knew themselves. Conflict resolution training. I, for one, I was the people manager at the time of that company. And so what did I do? I organized conflict resolution training because there was so much beef. One of our brand manager was in communication before she came here. So she finds herself always tilting towards the communication side, telling the marketing team what to do. And she wasn't their manager, right? So we had to now find the training. So because you don't obviously come and say, this is the person that is the issue. No, we come with the training and we made that work. I want to foster the feedback culture. So rather than just send us forms at the end of the month to say, okay, these are the things that I did, we'll create charts. Who was the best person you worked with? Why was it? Where did you have a challenge? It's totally anonymous. Nobody knows who said this about the other person. So these are the things that we looked at, right? Overcoming collaboration challenge. And I feel like there are things that if you implement both, not just in a team, even in your everyday life, right? You create a structure like that, it ensures that you are good. Now, before we go to the Q&A, because after this section, we're going to questions and answers. So I'll leave the floor open by that time. So please have your questions ready. Tools and resources to enhance collaboration. I just gave an example of the Isbeyu and Burna Boy situation where I said it's possible that, Isbeyu and Sidi Talker, it's possible that he didn't prepare for that content. He didn't prepare that he will meet Burna Boy there or take those strange pictures, right? But then he may have just seen Burna Boy coming and the idea just flashes through his mind. But maybe Isbeyu is on the other side of the event. So he picks up his phone, right? Or he picks up his phone and says, oh, on WhatsApp, how far, bro, this is the idea I have, right? And then he sent the message. And good thing is Bayu was using WhatsApp. I'm just assuming, I'm not saying they use WhatsApp, I'm just giving an idea, right? Same thing. So platforms like Google Workspace, Microsoft Teams, right, for seamless document sharing and real-time co-editing. So for example, we can be on a call like this, and this is a slide. And then I'm asking for input. Adams, what do you think are the tools and resources to enhance collaboration? And everything here is blank. Adam shares, Joanne shares, Doris shares, Fred shares, and we're putting them one after the other, and we have content, right? So it helps real-time co-editing. There are project management tools. There's Trello. It helps you schedule tasks, manage tasks, and so many other things. There's Asana, right? There's our test, I think it's Artesian, I think that's how it's pronounced, and so many other tools. So this helps you track tasks, manage workflows, and meet deadlines efficiently. So you can go on the document, you will see how long it takes you to do this, how long it takes this person to do this, and you're following up. Because if you don't know how long it takes, how would you want to follow up, right? For us, for example, in my team, we only prioritize having work plans, right? And maybe a mini comms report. So therefore, we now know that for the particular project you're working on, you need to get back to us every week and tell us this is what you have done. This is a feedback process. But this was created, this is manual. We're not using Trello, we're not using Asana, it's just within us. We're trying to make it work, right? But if we wanted to go automation, we'll have a larger team, we'll have platforms like this, right? Another thing that enhances collaboration is creative collaboration. Imagine saying this, creative collaboration. For example, we want to work on a design, right? On Figma, right? Figma is a platform that, real-time design teamwork. So, Fred can be wherever he is in the world, and Obina can be wherever he is in the world. Christabel can be wherever she is in the world, and they work on a design together. They are communicating on the same platform, real time, right? So it's like what we naturally do when we're seeing ourselves face to face, right? We'll maybe talk about sit down close to a laptop and say, okay, what do you think about this color? Should I change the variation? Okay, this what architecture should we use? Okay, what font size should we use? What font style? Should we center it? Should we indent it to the left or to the right? Instead of doing that together in the same space, or saying, Obina, where are you? I'm in the US. Oh, Fred, where are you? I'm in the US, but I'm in Ohio. This person is in Massachusetts. Okay, can you come to Massachusetts? That's not the thing now. From wherever we are, right, we work on it together in real time, and we still get our feedback on the spot, right? Talk about virtual whiteboards, right? So platforms like Miro, Jamboard for interactive brainstorming sessions. You can come and just put a blank document and title it let's think of an idea. Title it X. So imagine Twitter was Twitter before they became X, and then they just write X, and they call all the design team or everybody just come on the call, and then when you see X, what comes to your mind? Everybody starts sharing the ideas. One person is busy, typing all these things. And I've been in that platform before, right? I had a training. It wasn't really a training; it was like an interview. I think 4 years ago, and we had cross-functional team, cross-cultural as well. People from different backgrounds, both culturally, but their understanding is this person was in policy management. I was just a writer. This person was doing this, and then they asked us to solve an issue in the educational system. So while I started talking, one person already created a document. And then she just said, "Can I share my screen?" We said, "Of course." And then she shows us a live document. Everything I had shared and everything anybody has imputed were on that document. So these are what collaborations can do to us, but these are the tools that enhance them for us. All right. So it encourages continuous learning, right? Because these platforms, they change every day. They have new builds every other time. They have new frameworks, and it helps you to get to learn how to work better. All right. So we're basically going to move to the reflect and question and answer section. Now, everyone on this call, maybe 2 or 3 persons, we're going to take the reflect, 2 or 3 persons will take the questions, and then I'll open the floor for questions. So the reflection is this: share a moment when collaboration led to your best work or a breakthrough idea that truly made an impact. All right. And then the question is going to be, what's one collaboration habit you want to build or improve in your professional life starting today? Now, everyone on this call is going to talk on these 2 segments. So you may talk on the first one or reflect, or talk on the question. So if I were you, I'll quickly unmute my mic and talk on the reflect, because we need 2 responses from reflect, 2 responses to the question, but everybody has to talk at some point. Or you can also tell us on the chat section. All right. So let's go with the first. So share with us a moment when collaboration led to your best work or a breakthrough idea that truly made an impact. So I'm going to leave the floor open for anyone that want to speak. I don't want to have to call anyone. I believe we're all grown-ups here, right? And we can put our foot. We talked about trustful. So we're going to put our foot out there that even if we give a response, it doesn't have to be every other person's response. It's just my response. There's no right or wrong answers. I always say that on calls like this. There's no right or wrong answers. It's just the answer you give to us. So who wants to try? Who wants to reflect? Tell us moments when collaboration led to your best work. Okay, Adams, I see your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Thank you very much for the privilege. I think one I can reflect on is from my place of work. I was given the head of ICT and I had like a ton of workload to do. Though I had like other colleagues and the rest, but I felt like they were busy and I didn't want to stress them. But I think when I come to the realization that I actually like have like a better collaboration with them, it's not really stressing them. We have to work together. Sometimes I cannot feel like I can do everything, right? Sometimes sharing the work and not making them feel like, okay, I do it best. So I had to make it open and I shared. And I realized that I had like lots of time before submission. And also I learned lots of things because getting to put documents together, you have to not edit it so it flows in terms of the fonts, the tables, everything aligns like just like the idea. So at the end of the day, I got to learn more. I got like to submit earlier. So for me, collaboration actually is key.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that feedback. All right, so who else wants to share with us, reflect back a moment when collaboration led to your best work? So one more response and then we go to the question, right? Who else wants to speak up? Okay, I see Obina, mic is unmuted, please. Go ahead.
All right. First, thanks a lot for the session. And don't want to clarify that I'm not sure that is my best work, but it's what comes to mind, like was recent. Okay. So more or less also at my workplace. So for some reason I had to prepare the reports for my CEO, like a board level report, and it was like serious work because I had to collect data from like about 10 other companies, more or less. So collect the data, come up with the templates, more or less the templates, the flow of the reports, and now impute the data because now I have to look for how to aggregate data across these 10 companies, and yeah, all of that. So it was like a lot of work. So I was kind of overwhelmed because there was a serious deadline. He gave it to me on Monday evening. We were to meet him 9 a.m. on Tuesday, right, more or less on updates. Then again, another meeting again, 1 p.m. the next day. So in some way, I was kind of overwhelmed, but I was working with 5 other people. So I gave them their part of their task and all that. So, but somehow, my part involved the main calculation of trying to collect the data of these 10 companies and do everything. Yeah. So at that moment, I was overwhelmed because part of it involved manually going through the individual reports of all the companies and putting it in the Google Sheet.
Wow.
So as in, I was moving so slowly. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I think I was overwhelmed, that kind of thing. But one of my teammates just be like, Obina, share it with us now, let's do it for you. As in, just clicked, I was like, what am I stuffing myself? So, long story short, I shared it and like what was taking me, I don't know, a long minutes. So,
Yeah,
everybody just completed it and I just did the formula and yeah, everything was ready. So, yeah, and
but that's
we
fantastic.
had a breakthrough.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. I believe that most times collaboration comes to our heart when we find ourselves in a position of what would I call it, being incapacitated. Like we can't do something. If we could do it, most times we won't consider working with people. But it's important we find ourselves in tricky situations like that. So that builds the spirit of collaboration. So before we move to the question, so this is Christabel saying one moment where collaboration helped me do my best work was doing a group project in school. I had ideas but struggled to organize them, and my teammates helped structure everything together. Um, Together, we created something much stronger than what I could have done alone. Fantastic. I love that feedback. I love that feedback. So, like I said, most times it comes from a position of our inability to do something, and then we now seek help. And then we now realize that, oh, this help has always been there. Right? This help has always been there. We just did not know. Right. So, that's fantastic. Okay. So, the question it says, what's one collaboration habit you want to build or improve in your professional life starting today? So I'll take 2 responses and then I'll open the floor for questions. Right? You know, we have limited time here, so we have 7 minutes. So this call is over. So the sooner we send our responses, the sooner we take your questions, and then we bring this meeting to a close. So who would want to go ahead? And like Christabel, you may want to drop it on the chat box, or you may want to unmute your mic to speak. But just tell us what's collaboration habit. Okay. So Joanne says, thank you for this opportunity. I believe a skill I definitely want to be picking up today will be in the line of building trust while working with the team. Fantastic. I do love things to be a certain way, very standard and far from mediocrity. I believe from listening to you, being a team leader means putting measures in place to ensure that I'm not scared in my own absence and just ensuring better outcomes while collaborating. That's fantastic. This is an amazing feedback. It deserves a round of applause. Like I love this feedback, right? And I'm sure that as you put a foot out, you're not going to regret it, right? You're not going to regret it. And you find that you're even empowering people. You find people that have strengths in your team that you didn't even know, they could be trustworthy or they could do those things in the first place. Thank you very much. Any other feedback? So let's take one more feedback. One more feedback. Sorry, one more answer to that question, and then I leave the floor open for anyone that has a question. So we have 5 minutes still on call. Any other person wants to share what's one collaboration habit you want to build or improve in your professional life starting today? Starting today. Tell us, tell us, tell us. Tell us, tell us, tell us. We really want to hear from you. Okay, so it seems the rest of us are shy. Of course, you can type it on the chat box, right? You don't have to unmute your mic. So while we're doing that, does anyone have any question, right? Do you have any question that they want to ask? Anyone with a question? Maybe basically from what we have said, or you're currently in a situation where you're having to work with your team. All right, Temi, please go ahead. Temi, you can unmute your mic and speak. I see your hand is up. Yes. Hello. Oh, I thought Temi was trying to speak. Okay, so there's a question. Okay, how can collaboration be used not just to achieve goals but to build stronger communities or relationships? Fantastic. Now, one of the things that I usually do as a person, right, is when I meet someone, I find an opportunity for us to work on something together, not just because we need to work on something, but because of what we need to do, you know, our communities put together. For example, I normally will have an IG live, like Instagram live session, and I'd rather invite my friends, right? Some people that are CEOs, founders, so that we can communicate on a personal level. But then I started trying something differently. So when I want to send out an invite, now I start thinking which people are on the internet right now, maybe a friend of a friend or just someone random that can speak on this topic, right? Of course, it's way beyond the topic. I know what you can do. An IG live session is just 1 hour, we're done. But then I use those sessions, those things to say, okay, we have worked on this, right? Whenever you're having your events, let me know, right? I want to come, I want to show up for you. And we did that. So we had a training program recently. One of our speakers is the current CEO of, I think, the International Bank of Commerce, right, in Kenya, the Kenya chapter. She's a CEO there. And I didn't know her before, right? We had a speaker for a session. Then the next session, one of our speakers could not make it. So I had to ask for a recommendation. And the last speaker recommended this person. We wrote to her. She showed up. And she didn't just show up, right? She started talking about how if we have another session, we should let her know. I would think that someone as busy as her would not have time for stuff like this, but she was quite enthusiastic. So, but what do you do, right? How can you achieve? How can you, how can collaboration be used, right? Not just to achieve a goal, but build stronger communities. You have to test it. You have to put something on it. You have to put value on it. If I didn't think these people that I'm reaching and had something, I wouldn't invite them for an IG live, because it's not just an IG live I want them for. I want to ensure that our non-profits or our communities or our companies can work together, right? So what do you do in that space? You make sure you show up. Don't only be a taker, be a giver, right? Go to their events, right? Connect with them on a personal level. If you have to access people on LinkedIn or any other platform, show up for them. If they have birthdays, celebrate them. It builds stronger relationships way more than just fulfilling the goal, right? For example, the speaker I just talked about yesterday was her birthday, and I was fortunate to see that she and her son shared the same birthday. I'd seen the son's post, like she posted the son, and I said, "Oh, happy birthday to your son." And then in the night time, I'm seeing cake for her. I'm like, "Oh my God, I didn't know it was your birthday. Happy birthday to you." Right? Start from there. If you're a Christian or they are Christians, celebrate their holidays with them. If they are Muslims, celebrate their holiday with them. Just these are the things that you'll be showing up. I had someone that I met in 2021. She's a Muslim. They call her the legal. My mate by age, is not my mate by virtue of what she has done, but she responds. May take a minute, but she responds. But is that consistency that she shows? Anytime I make a post anywhere, Instagram, LinkedIn, she will just comment, my brother, my brother, my brother. She's Muslim, she's Yoruba, I'm not. But she always finds a way to have that my brother feature into every single thing that I am doing. So anybody that sees her comment now would think that, oh, these people are actually best buds, but we have not seen since the event that we met in 2021. So show up, right? Okay, so there's a feedback from Temi Olua. Jointly, thank you for this opportunity on the issue of trust. For how do you determine a safe space, a place where you can allow yourself to be vulnerable, because workspace can be scary sometimes. Test it. Not your experience, you can use other people's experiences. And then, so it's easier for me to test you with 5 naira than test you once with 1,000 naira. There's no place you can find yourself to be vulnerable in that you have not tested us, or you have not aware that someone has tested it. So start with the small things. Don't put the major things that would put your life in jeopardy or your work in jeopardy. Because of course, I understand that workspace can be very scary. My God, you can say one thing today and you hear it in the next team bonding exercise 3 months after. Right? I'm saying this because this is a reality. Right? So, but you want to try the person with small information. Try with small information, see how the person manage it. Try the person with small tasks, see how they manage it. Be moving from there. bit by bit, bit by bit. And the truth is simple. I won't lie to you. You may have tested people and they will still fall your hand. That's real life. Vulnerability should not be from a place of I am going to be safe. It should be from a place of what I'm going to do has to be done. So there's always going to be a goal. If you're thinking playing safe, you're never going to take any risk, because no, at the end of the day, nobody is trustworthy. When we see movies, we hear people's stories. That someone that you may have known for years will just go and say one thing that maybe they are unaware or they are aware will put you in jeopardy, but they said it not because they hate you, but because they just found themselves doing those things. So, but like I said, to be vulnerable in a space, what do? Test it with the smallest opportunities. Start small. It's like a business, little beginnings, right? So with people, little beginnings. Can start with people's experiences, then come to yours, then grow bit by bit, bit by bit. Of course, there are times where you go off on a limb, but somebody has to vouch for someone. So the times where you need to go off on a limb, this is so important. I don't have time to do small with this person. I need to work on this immediately. Find someone that knows them and find someone that can vouch for them. Then start from there. Because the I think you didn't join the call earlier, but I talked about how my non-profit organization and another person's organization, and they had laptops shared to do a project. That worked because we had a mutual friend. When I connected with Gare on LinkedIn, I saw this person following him. Her name is Catherine Feng, one of my sweetest friends. She's from Australia. And I said, oh, I know Catherine. I met her in 2022. And he says, oh, I know Catherine as well. That's how I entered his DM. So in less than 1 month, we had an IG live done. In less than 3 months, he gave my organization 5 laptops. He had never seen me before. So somebody's name. So I'm sure after that conversation, he may have gone to text Catherine to be sure that, oh, this guy is not in Nigeria trying to dagbo us and say, oh, he just knows you. And Catherine will say the sweetest things about me. So he found that person. So you find someone that can vouch for that space or that person if you have to go off on a limb. But if you have the time, oh, baby steps with whosoever, wherever environment, and then before you make the mark. All right, so our time is done. It's an hour session. And as much as I want to talk to you guys, I don't want to have to exceed the usual time or the time that was actually given to me. So I'll close on this note, right? Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. Right? Coming together is the beginning, like I said. You meet them on the internet, meet them physically. Keeping together is progress. What do? You say hi to them when they make posts, you comment. If they have physical events that you can attend, you show up, you take pictures in their events. If you can meet them, take pictures with them. Working together is what is success. Then you now move to working on projects. The people I mentioned, we have not done any tangible projects, right? These are basic things. And IG Live is so basic. But when we do a project in millions of naira or dollars to impact lives, that's the end goal. But it will not just start from meeting you on the first day. So embrace collaboration to unlock creativity, resilience, and growth in your career, in your ventures, transforming challenges into opportunities. Start today, right? Reach out. You'll be asking yourself now, you're in a particular project or program, right? Start thinking, oh, this person in this team, I may not have spoken to the person before. I think it's time I start building a relationship. Reach out, hear them. Don't go with your own desires first. Listen to them. So when people speak, you understand the kind of person they are. You know if they're outspoken, you know if they're shy, right? You know they know their stuff. You know if they're still building themselves. And then from there, you build your collaborative network to achieve extraordinary results. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Oh, so there's a feedback from Fred. Thank you for coming up with this initiative. In as much as the need for collaboration cannot be overemphasized, it is an ingredient that enhances productivity and efficiency. Thank you for your words. Oh, thank you very much for that wonderful feedback, Fred. I really appreciate it. So we have a culture here. Before every single person jumps out of the call, you unmute your mic and say, "We hello." If you want to turn on your cameras and give the salute, that would be amazing. But before you go,
hello.
thank you very much, Fred. Thank you very much. We hello. Kindly on I can say that, or you can say that on the chat box as well before you go, and we'll call it a day. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Joanne. Oh, thank you. Oh, fantastic. I love the buzz on the comment section. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Obina. Thank you, Christabel and Temi. Do have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye, everyone. Okay, when will be the next session? Oh yeah, so the platform, right? The Hailerz community on Instagram is where they get to notify you on the next session, right? And the next speakers, of course, we'll have different lines. I'm not the only person that gets to speak on this wonderful platform. There are other people. So maybe you want to follow them. Let me see if I can get the link to their Instagram and share on the comment section here. So you can follow them and then turn on post notifications so you know when they have a new event coming in. I think I should have done that initially. Okay. So I'll be sharing the link in a minute now. Just gonna copy it and paste it here. Okay. So you can let me know when you see the link. Temi, I've just dropped the link. Have you seen the link, Temi? Kindly confirm that you can. Oh, fantastic. All right. So we are done. Thank you. Have an amazing weekend ahead. Bye.